that are making the headlines on this Tuesday morning. Joining us to talk about those, Claire Muldoon and Candice Holsworth.
Hi.
Claire, government gender guidance has been issued. So schools and what teachers are supposed to tell their parents or what they can accept. What is it saying?
Well, a lot of the papers have picked up on this today, thankfully so, and you would think that these guidelines would have been in place in the first instance. The guidelines are: schools will be told to presume that a child cannot change gender in the government's first guidance for teachers on trans issues. Hold that front page. Why was this not in place? But why even talk of change of this, let alone a child changing its gender? We've had enough of this. We need to get back to basics and realise that children aren't in charge of themselves until they reach the age of 18. They have parental responsibility in the courts, whether that be in the care system or whether it be with the natural biological parents. That should transcend into them knowing that they cannot transition without their parents, okay? And in my view, they shouldn't be able to allow to be able to start the transition process until they are adults in the eyes of the law, and in this day and age in this country, that is aged 18.
So Claire, if you're one of your children when they were younger, came to you at 7 or 8 years of age and said, "Mummy, I feel like a pussycat. I want to be a pussycat. I meow, I lick my fur balls, I do whatever I do, and I'm a pussycat." What would you say to them?
Good on you, love. Okay, next. I would not entertain that. They're kids, okay? They need guidance. They need to be told that kids want to be farmers, they want to be unicorns, they want to be astronauts, they can want to be doctors, nurses, train drivers.
I wanted to be Captain Kirk.
You are Captain Kirk.
But I would have could I have gone to school at 8 and said, "Just call me James T." I wonder could I have got away, but seriously, under today's guidelines.
No. Well, you've got to face all this with your 4-year-old and 2-year-old. Where do you stand?
Well, I think it's really good that there's finally some guidance, because I think teachers are just desperate for it because they don't know how to navigate it. And so far, they've kind of been taking the most conservative approach. I think with such a polarized debate like this, they're trying to accommodate both sides. So they're trying to say, if a child does want to transition, we can't ban it under the Equality Act. But similarly, if a teacher does not want to use the preferred pronouns, they also don't have to.
It's a form of child abuse. I'm sorry, it really is.
So here's my question.
Enabling it, Pip. Enabling it.
How come when we were all younger, we weren't surrounded by people who wanted to be a different sex and a different gender? I mean, there may have been 1 in 10,000 or something, but we were not surrounded by friends who wanted to be someone else.
Because as ever, in this country, it's the silent majority that now have an opening, and they use buzzwords like equality, like human rights, like something. I'll tell you right now, and I've said it before to you on another programme, it's an abdication of parental responsibility to allow anything like this into the home and anything like this to seep into schools.
Yeah. But we were just taking the mickey back then, saying, thinking you want to be Captain Kirk. But
I'm not taking the mickey. I seriously want to be Captain Kirk. Are you doubting my aspiration?
Yes, I am.
To want to be. So I'm saying the difference is between 1968 and now that I could legitimately demand to be regarded as James T. Kirk, Captain of the Starship Enterprise.
Identity.
But I think where there are children that feel that they are genuinely stuck in the wrong skin, in the wrong.
Right.
That's the difference.
But wait a minute. This is my point. When I was at school, I knew one who was stuck in the wrong body.
You don't know that just because they didn't tell you.
Yes, I knew of no one. I knew of absolutely no one who wanted to be like that. Claire?
I agree with you.
Candice?
Yeah, I think that it's a phenomenon now that they've observed that it used to be that the children who were present at these gender clinics who were experiencing gender dysphoria tended to be very young little boys, but suddenly there was an explosion in adolescent teen girls, and this is why we see a huge amount of kids in school now claiming to have gender dysphoria, and why we need the guidance on it. But I think we also need to explore why that's happening, and some clinicians think it's a way of children expressing anxiety, so you do need to explore the underlying issues.
I think I'll go one step further, actually, and I'll say that I'm really pleased the Tavistock Centre has been closed down, because that was an aberration. It started giving children under the age of 12 puberty blockers. That is absolutely horrendous. That is a form of child abuse. And now the evidence is there to support the fact that that is a wrong thing to do. And there's the absolute horrible, heart-wrenching stories of people who did transition and have now detransitioned, and they're left in an absolute limbo. And it's doctors and big pharma that have enabled that, and namby-pamby social workers and lawyers and everyone else is wanting to jump in the bandwagon.
Youngsters need to feel that they can speak up about it if they do feel trapped, because just because they don't talk about it doesn't mean they don't feel that they are.
Pip, there's lots of things that go on, but this, you need the stark reality is there's very, very few people in this world, in this country, in this city, who actually feel trapped in the wrong body. There's too many of the minority that actually will speak out about this. And the fact that we've got 1 in 4 kids living in poverty at the moment, the fact that in Scotland, the education, the health service, everything else is falling off the cliff, and gender identity is stealing the headlines and is stealing inches on newspapers and in talk shows, is awful. It really is. We've got far more important things to be discussing than children who want to be something that they're not.
Okay, let's talk something more important. Social media proposals.
Yes, yeah.
Candice.
Yeah, so this was an interesting story in the Telegraph, and they were saying that there's been an uptick in proposals, engagement proposals, during the December period because it makes for a nicer picture. And I read this and I thought, oh no, this is what's becoming of us. Social media is defining how we live our lives rather than us living our lives and maybe posting it on social media. We think, how would this look on Instagram? And then we craft the situation. And I just think, no, that's not good. That's the technology completely altering the way it's our social behavior.
I see this with weddings. When people hold their weddings, everything has to be very carefully curated
I know.
for Instagram.
And it's not how it feels, it's how it looks.
Yeah, it's very shallow. Very shallow, Claire.
I'm not on Instagram. The only social form of social media I'm on is Twitter, and even that half the time isn't even
Do you
worth it.
follow Instagram?
No, I don't have an account. I don't see the point of it, because it is all I've been learned to believe is the fact it's very fake, very picture perfect, and doesn't we wonder why children, especially teenagers, have got massive mental health issues when they're being bombarded by something that is supposed to be the social norm, the social ideal, which is quite difficult to actually attain.
It's so
naturally.
true. It's really true, and they're saying it's affecting teen girls particularly.
Of course it will.
Because they engage in so much social comparison at that age, and they're not exposed to people who are just like them. Instead, it's people who live these so-called picture-perfect lives, which they don't. I mean, nobody does. But we don't see the spectrum of beauty anymore either.
No. And the other indicator for that is the fact of algorithms and the advent of AI into that, in what feeds into their social feed as well. Very important subliminal messaging. Very important messaging without even being subliminal, and yet these kids, they've got, their brains are wired, they've got everything accessible on the internet, they've got access to absolutely anything, dark web as well, pornography, their minds are being wired constantly to a thing that's not natural.
Well, this is natural, and this probably has appeared on Instagram. Have a look at this picture here of the Princess of Wales. You may look at this picture and think that what you're looking at is her youngest son, Prince Louis. We're going to have a look at this. Are we? There we are.
Yeah,
right, there we go. So there you are. There's this is Catherine Middleton.
Yep.
The spinning image of her youngest son there. We see a picture. I don't know if we're going to see a comparison picture of Prince Louis. But anyway.
Well, they look very, very similar. And this was taken at Christmas time when Princess of
I don't know
Wales...
what the point is of showing this if we're not showing a comparison picture. But anyway, no, that's the wrong picture. That's the wrong child. So we're looking out there.
Like her.
Prince Louis and Catherine Middleton look very, very alike there.
So the story is, Princess of Wales has released this picture of her aged 3 in the family home round about Christmas time. And the Princess of Wales is very much for the under 5s and the development of children, and she feels passionately about this. And what she's done is actually say, look, let's look back, let's take history, let's get our old snaps out, and let's see how we can value and how we can give value to the under 5s to help families promote, because it's all about the early starts in life. And we know the better the start, you don't need to have lots of money, you don't need to have lots of it. You need love, respect, kindness, the ability to heat your house, the ability to have clean water, and actually live a really that in my view, that's comfort and that's a life.
I think it's been studied though. I mean, even children who are rich in material wealth, they don't necessarily fare better than children who are poorer but are brought up with a lot of love. And that makes all the difference.
It does make all the difference.
Yes, it does.
Love and kindness makes the way.
Yes, it does. It does. They don't need brand new toys. They don't need all the latest gadgets.
They don't need to change their sex.
They need you. They need your attention, and that's the most important thing.
Absolutely. Reading together, bedtime stories. My kids even now remember them. And it was beautiful. The Michael Morpurgo books, everything. You know, taking that time out.
A sort of continuity, knowing that everything's going to be okay, the safety, the love of a family around. Yeah, okay. Oh, very nice. New homes are being forced through. Today, Michael Gove is expected to announce that councils that delay or deny legitimate house building, in his words, will be stripped of powers over planning. How long have we got in the programme? A minute. 35 seconds. Okay, what do you got to say on that?
Well, it's too little, too soon. Gove is levelling up. I think he's levelling down. Lessons have to be learned about Grenfell. I don't want more tower blocks. I want communities. I want housings. I don't want estates. I want people to flourish in communities.
Claire for Housing Minister, that's what I say. There we go. It all
Look out, Michael Gove.
Yeah, it seems so obvious. And
Doesn't it just?
No one does
Doesn't
anything.
it just, Eamonn?
It does. It does seem so obvious. Thank you very much indeed, Claire Muldoon and Candy Holsworth. Thank you both very much indeed. Alex Burkle with your weather next, and then Pip and I'll be back top of the hour.